A UK football player answers to felony drug charges in a Central Kentucky courtroom. Now at 4, we'll tell you what happened and have Coach Mark Stoops' response.
We've got a big storm system taking aim at the Bluegrass State. I've got everything from thunderstorms and 60 to snow on the way.
Police arrest a Central Kentucky grandmother on charges, what they say she did to her young granddaughter, and how a restaurant worker helped the girl.
This is WKYT News at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Jennifer Palumbo. The week is off to a calm start in the weather department. Here's a live look at downtown Lexington, where temperatures are closing in on 50 degrees right now. But we're in for a wild ride later this week with everything from heavy rain to snow. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast. Chris?
Yeah, it's a forecast, Jennifer, we're going to use to make everybody happy, because if you want it, chances are you're going to find it coming out of the sky over the next 3 or 4 days across central and eastern Kentucky. Coming off a spring-like weekend. Today, not half bad, a little on the overcast side, but temperatures into the mid and upper 40s into most areas with a northerly wind. It's only knocking that temperature down into the upper 40s. Feels like 44 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. A little cooler into Richmond, 45, 47 Maysville, but notice to our west, temperatures hitting 50 degrees yet again. A little milder across far southeastern Kentucky, too. A lot of overcast across the southern parts of the area, far north, getting in on a little bit of sunshine. Let's give you a tour of what's going on, though, in a busy atmosphere. Storm system across the deep south. May throw a shower southeastern Kentucky later tonight, tomorrow morning. That's not the big show. The big show cruising into the Texas Panhandle right now. That's a major storm that is ahead of us. Heavy rain, thunder, lightning, high winds, a big temperature crash that will also lead to snows flying literally just maybe 6 to 12 hours after you hear thunder and have temperatures around 60 degrees into central and eastern Kentucky. To say it's a wild ride is an understatement, Jennifer. We'll buckle the seat belts and tackle that storm when I come back in 15 minutes.
Thanks, Chris. A University of Kentucky football player has been thrown off the team after his arrest on felony drug charges. The Franklin County Sheriff says Jason Hatcher was stopped for speeding early this morning, and deputies found a pound of marijuana in his car. The 21-year-old Hatcher is charged with trafficking, drug paraphernalia, tampering with physical evidence, and speeding. Shortly after his arraignment, UK dismissed the senior linebacker. WKYT's Victor Puente is in Frankfort with the latest. It's our top story at 4.
These charges started with a stop along Interstate 64. That former UK football player is facing several felonies connected to a pound of marijuana. Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton told us UK defensive end Jason Hatcher was arrested around 1 this morning. He said the initial stop was for speeding along I-64, but once that deputy approached Hatcher's SUV, he smelled marijuana and told him he'd be searching the vehicle. He said as that deputy went back to his cruiser to get some gloves, he saw Hatcher moving items around, and when they made the search, they found a total of a pound of marijuana in the car and on Hatcher's pants. They arrested him and charged him with trafficking in marijuana, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Melton says when that search started, it was clear Hatcher was trying to hide the marijuana down his pants.
When he come back up, there was some seeds and stems and stuff on his crotch area. And when he got him out, he had stuck a quarter pound of marijuana down his pants. There was 3/4 of a pound of marijuana found on the passenger side floorboard of the vehicle.
The University of Kentucky released a statement saying Hatcher had been dismissed from the football team. He was arraigned earlier this morning in Franklin District Court and entered a not guilty plea. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Hatcher graduated from Trinity High School in Louisville back in 2014. He was cited for possession of marijuana on the U of L campus, but that charge was dropped after he completed a marijuana education course. The FBI is not saying much about its raid at a Lexington home this morning. The house is on Heartland Parkside Drive off Kennesaw Drive. The FBI will only tell us agents are conducting law enforcement activity and people living on the street are not in danger. While neighbors say they saw agents take someone away, the FBI says as of right now they have not made any arrests. We'll have an update on the raid on WKYT News at 5. Police have arrested a grandmother on charges she put her 9-year-old granddaughter in danger. Danville police were called to a home on Crescent Drive yesterday where they found the girl on the porch. Police say 51-year-old Lisa Ball was drunk and kicked the girl out of the home after getting mad at her. Investigators tell us the girl appeared to be hungry, so they took her to McDonald's where an employee gave her a free meal.
And then I noticed that, he was buying her breakfast, and he looked at me and he said, well, she hadn't eaten in a while. So, that already pulled on my heartstrings. So I thought, what can I do to make her day a little bit better?
As for Boss, she's charged with endangering the welfare of a minor and alcohol intoxication. We'll have the latest on this case on WKYT News at 6. 5 Paris police officers who were suspended for misconduct are fighting to get their jobs back. The officers are pleading their cases to commissioners and the city attorney in a public hearing going on this afternoon. The hearing has included hours of video evidence presented by Chief Rob Williams. He says officers are seen spending hours hanging out with their feet up on desks, goofing around and doing unrelated work in the dispatch center. A department-wide memo sent out in December asked all officers to stop hanging out in dispatch, and they claim they did. Their attorneys say this is a case of retaliation.
Once they elected not to switch from a 10-hour shift to a 12-hour shift, they were on target. They were Chief Williams' crosshairs.
6 officers were suspended without pay last week. 1 has since resigned. We're in Paris with an update on the hearing on WKYT News at 5:30. And our reporters are working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Amber Philpott is in the newsroom with a look at some more of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Amber.
Good afternoon to you, Jennifer. New information today about the future of Centerpoint in downtown Lexington. In a letter obtained by WKYT, the attorney representing Lexington says the city plans to fill in the block if work on the project does not resume by March 30th. The letter was directed to the Pennsylvania Crane Company that has 2 cranes at the project site, informing them of the city's intention to return the property to its pre-excavation condition. Earlier this month, the developers involved dropped out of the project. We'll have more details for you coming up on WKYT News at 6. Businesses celebrated the reopening of a busy Lexington intersection this morning. North Upper at West Short Street was closed for construction for 18 months. It reopened several weeks ago, so businesses held an unofficial opening this morning. Some say it's now easier for their customers to navigate downtown Lexington.
I knew once it opened, we would be fine. And once the business opened about a week ago, I saw an immediate rise in sales.
She says sales are up nearly 20% since the road reopened. That is a look at just some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thanks, Amber. Now to a story making headlines across the nation at 4. The gunman who police say fired on people in 3 locations in Kalamazoo, Michigan, faces 6 counts of murder. Police are working to piece together the timeline of the alleged killer, a 45-year-old Uber driver who reportedly picked up passengers in between the killings. Andrew Spencer has the latest.
Court calls the case of State of Michigan versus Jason Brian Dalton.
45-year-old Jason Dalton appeared before a judge Monday, 2 days after a shooting spree in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
You understand the charges being made against you, the maximum sentences that I just stated.
Prosecutors are charging Dalton with 6 counts of murder, 2 counts of assault with intent to commit murder, and 8 firearm-related counts. Police say Dalton opened fire at 3 locations over the course of nearly 7 hours Saturday night, picking up Uber fares in between shootings. A total of 8 people were shot, 6 of them killed.
I said, "You're not the shooter, are you?" And he said no, and I said, "Are you sure?" And he just said, "No, I'm just tired. I've been driving for 7 hours."
His first stop was at an apartment complex where a woman was shot multiple times. She remains in critical condition. Several hours later, police say Dalton opened fire again at a car dealership where he shot and killed a father and son. Minutes later, 5 people were shot in the parking lot of a restaurant. The only survivor there, a 14-year-old girl who remains in critical condition. Dalton was arrested 2 hours later. Monday, a mass was held in honor of the victims. Condolences came from President Barack Obama as he addressed the shooting during a governor's conference.
On Saturday, another one of our communities was terrorized by gun violence. You got families who are shattered today.
I'm Andrew Spencer, reporting.
Uber's chief security officer released this statement saying, "We are horrified and heartbroken at the senseless violence in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Our hearts and prayers are with the families of the victims of this devastating crime and those recovering from injuries." Here's something we haven't said in a while. Gas prices are going up. That begins today's WKYT Money Watch. AAA says the national average for a gallon of gas rose for 4 days in a row last week as the price of crude oil is rising. Still, on average, drivers are paying about 60 cents less per gallon than this time last year. Yahoo could be on the market. Bloomberg reports the struggling tech company will start to approach buyers including Verizon, Comcast, and AT&T. The fate of CEO Marissa Mayer is still unclear. She took over in 2012, and the company has had a hard time competing with Google and Facebook. Starbucks is changing its rewards program, and to benefit, you'll have to spend more money. As part of the changes, customers will get 2 stars for each dollar they spend. After 125 stars, they'll earn a free item. Under the current program, you get 1 star for each transaction, regardless of what you spend, and a free item after earning 12 stars. The changes will take effect in April. Workplace wellness programs have become a common way for companies to make healthier employees. And many of the initiatives involve giving away something else, cash. But is there a smarter way to go about that? That's at the center of a new study. Andrew Spencer has details.
Employers want healthier employees, and as a result, workplace wellness programs are hot. According to a study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, more than 80% of big companies are now offering some form of financial incentive to get their workers to participate. Looking at how such programs can be more effective, researchers gave nearly 300 people a 7,000-step goal to keep up during a 13-week challenge. The study participants were broken up into groups. One got $1.40 for each day they hit the 7,000-step goal. The second group's participants were entered into a daily lottery. They could only win if they met their goal the day before. The third received $42 up front each month, with the caveat that participants lost $1.40 for each day they failed to meet that 7,000-step goal. So what did researchers find? Well, the group that was threatened with losing money exercised more. One physician involved with the study says it's all about how the reward is framed, adding that our brains are wired to avoid losing things, and we like the immediate gratification of getting the money up front. For Health Minute, I'm Andrew Spencer.
It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Drinking coffee could reduce your risk of developing a type of liver disease. Researchers say 2 cups a day could cut your chance of developing alcohol-related cirrhosis by 44%. Cirrhosis deteriorates the liver by blocking blood flow. Alcoholism is the second most common cause of the condition in the U.S., but experts say coffee will never balance out all the negative effects of excess alcohol. New data suggests teenagers who are heavier and taller may be at greater risk of developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Researchers in Israel tracked more than 2 million adolescents. They found overweight and taller than average teens faced a 25% higher risk of cancer of the lymphatic system later in life. Stanford University researchers say a new blood test could make it easier and cheaper to diagnose tuberculosis. Doctors say a gene signature in blood can now help them detect active TB. The disease kills 1.5 million people each year. New data from the CDC shows infections from HPV, the human papillomavirus, are down 64% among teenagers. Government researchers say cases have fallen sharply since the vaccine for the cancer-causing virus was introduced a decade ago. For more health, education, and consumer news, go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living. The news is just getting started. Here's Sam, Dick, and Amber Philpott with what's ahead at 4:30.